Anemone was the kind of mermaid who was more likely to be mistaken for a piece of driftwood than a daughter of the sea. Her hair was a tangle of kelp brown, perpetually floating around her face like a murky cloud. Her scales, a mottled, dull gray-green, seemed to absorb the light rather than reflect it. Her most striking feature, large, luminous eyes the color of deep-sea amethysts, were always downcast. Hidden behind the curtain of her hair, she resided in the quiet, shadowy grottoes of the coral reef, far from the glittering mare city of Siren's Cove, where the beautiful and bold held court. Her only friend was a grumpy old lobster named Barnabas, who appreciated her because she never tried to boil him. Beauty is a fickle current, Annie, he'd click, snapping a claw. Change his direction with the tide, but Anemone didn't believe him, not when the entire kingdom was abuzz with the upcoming Pearl Pageant, the most prestigious beauty contest in all the 7 seas. The winner would be crowned by Queen Seraphina herself and would have the honor of leading the great annual migration. Anemone watched the contestants practice their graceful arcs and sparkling smiles from behind a large, brain-shaped coral, her heart aching with a longing so deep it felt like a trench. The favorites were the dazzling Corallina, whose scales shimmered with every color of the sunset, and the sleek, powerful Marina, whose voice could charm the tentacles off an octopus. They were everything Anemone was not. One evening, as she wandered the outskirts of a sunken shipwreck, she stumbled upon a hidden cabin. Inside, amidst barnacle-encrusted treasure, was an intact, polished oyster shell mirror. For the first time, she truly looked at herself, and a single, silver tear escaped, drifting towards the seabed. Where it landed, a peculiar, bioluminescent sea flower bloomed, pulsing with a soft blue light. Intrigued, Anemone touched the flower. A voice, like the ringing of a ship's bell, echoed in her mind. A tear of true heart's desire unlocks the potential within. The flower's light intensified. And Anemone understood. This was magic, old magic. With a newfound, desperate courage, she began to visit the sea flower every night. She learned its secrets. The glowing pollen, when combed through her hair, turned the kelpy mess into a silken, silver cascade that floated like a moonlit cloud. The flower's sap, brushed onto her dull scales, caused them to molt, revealing new ones beneath that were a breathtaking mosaic of mother-of-pearl, shimmering with opalescent light. She practiced holding her head high, and her amethyst eyes, no longer hidden, began to sparkle with a confidence she'd never known. The day of the Pearl Pageant arrived. Siren's Cove was thronged with merfolk, seahorses, and schools of glittering fish. Corallina was resplendent in her crimson glory, and Marina's powerful tail cut through the water with formidable grace. The contestants performed their elegant routines to thunderous applause. Just as the judges, including Queen Seraphina, were about to confer, a gasp rippled through the crowd. A stranger was gliding towards the stage. She was stunning. Her silver hair was a halo of captured starlight. Her tail was a living masterpiece, reflecting the faintest light into 1,000 rainbow shards. She moved not with practiced precision, but with a natural, flowing grace, as if the current itself was her partner. She didn't sing or perform tricks. She simply smiled, a gesture so genuine and warm it seemed to make the entire reef bloom. And her eyes, large, amethyst, and full of a gentle kindness that held the entire audience spellbound. The judges were mesmerized. Queen Seraphina leaned forward, a curious glint in her wise eyes. There was no competition. The mysterious mermaid was crowned the Pearl Queen. The crowd erupting in a frenzy of cheers and clapping fins. As Queen Seraphina placed the luminous pearl crown upon the silver hair, she spoke in a voice that carried to every ear. "We crown you for your breathtaking beauty, my dear. But tell us, who are you? From what part of our kingdom do you hail?" A hush fell over the cove. The beautiful stranger took a deep breath. This was the moment she had both dreamed of and dreaded. She raised a hand and, with a gentle motion, swept her magnificent silver hair aside, as if parting a curtain. Then, she did something so simple, so utterly anemone, that it shattered the illusion. She looked down at her own tail, touched one of the gleaming mother-of-pearl scales, and with a soft flick, it loosened. Underneath, for just a flash, was the familiar, dull gray-green. A murmur of confusion spread. Then, she lifted her gaze, and for the first time, she looked directly at the crowd, her amethyst eyes meeting theirs without a trace of shyness. She didn't need to say a word. From the back of the crowd, Barnabas the lobster let out a triumphant click. "That's my Annie!" The silence was absolute for 3 heartbeats. Then, chaos. Whispers of anemone. The shy one from the grotto, "It can't be," rippled through the water. Coralina's jaw was unhinged. Marina looked as if she'd been slapped by a tuna. But Queen Seraphina simply smiled, a slow, knowing smile. She placed a hand under Anemone's chin. "The greatest beauty," the queen announced, her voice ringing with authority, "is not the shell, but the creature within. It is the courage to change, the strength to reveal one's true self, and the heart that once felt invisible, yet dared to dream so brightly that it outshone the sun itself. We have not crowned a disguise. We have crowned the mermaid who was always there." The crowd erupted again, this time not in cheers for a stranger, but in a roar of acceptance and offer one of their own. They saw not the ugly duckling of the reef, but the swan who had always been waiting to emerge. Anemone, the Pearl Queen, led the migration that year. And as she swam at the head of the glittering procession, her silver hair streaming behind her, she wasn't just leading them to warmer waters. She was leading them towards a new understanding that the most stunning transformations often begin not with a change of scale, but with a single, brave tear. The end. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.